And lastly for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terrence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terrence Crawford were nearly drawn into a tense moment during a live scene after Crawford shocked the boxing world by defeating Canelo Alvarez. Security quickly stepped in as emotions escalated and pushing began, creating a brief moment where it looked like legends from different eras might clash in the same ring. The situation was heated, but no punches were ultimately thrown. For years, Mayweather was recognized as the top fighter of his generation, while Crawford is now widely viewed as the best active boxer. Moments like this leave fans wondering whether there is genuine tension or if Floyd is simply creating drama to remain in the spotlight. After the Canelo fight, many in the boxing world felt that Crawford made a bigger impact than Mayweather ever did, and that belief continues to fuel the tension between them.
You see all these fighters, they doing a shoulder roll, you see, I mean, yeah. And not knocking the guys that paved the way. And I want to come on record and say, I'm appreciative for guys like Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. So many guys that paved the way for me. But there's only one Floyd Mayweather. These fighters are not better than me. You look at the numbers, they say, oh, Canelo may end up beating more world champions than Floyd Mayweather. Wait, he should? With almost, 80 and 90 fights, he should? Mm-hmm. I beat more world champions than any fighter in history. I'm 50-0, but half of my fights was world title fights.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. dominated boxing for many years as the pound-for-pound king. He called himself TBE, meaning the best ever, and retired undefeated with a perfect 50-0 record without ever losing a professional fight. Throughout his career, he earned big wins over top fighters like Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, and Oscar de la Hoya. Then Terrence Crawford arrived and shifted the discussion, bringing a new level of debate about dominant skill and legacy in modern boxing.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terrence "Bud" Crawford.
He has now become a 3-division champion and is still undefeated. Terrence Crawford has won titles in several weight classes, and his record continues to grow as he moves up and faces tougher opponents. Critics often say that Floyd Mayweather Jr. chose opponents carefully, and that some of the biggest names he fought were past their peak. However, his supporters strongly reject that claim and argue that he regularly faced top fighters in the sport and beat them while performing at his very best.
It's wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference to people.
Max Kellerman pointed out that Floyd Mayweather Jr. often chose the right timing to face his opponents and made careful decisions about when to take big fights. In contrast, Terrence Crawford has never been shy about calling for the biggest challenges right away. This difference is important because it affects how fans view and compare both fighters, and it continues to shape the ongoing debate about their careers and legacies.
The second half of the fight put an emphasis on the fact that Bud was in fact outboxing him in the first half of the fight. It is one of the biggest wins in boxing history. And now let Uncle Max gather around, children, and I will explain this. This is the situation, guys. No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division. Forever, the record was 3 by Henry Armstrong. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. I don't count that. Terrence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in the history of boxing. And he did.
Between them are very close. What sets Terrence Crawford apart from many fighters is his willingness to take real risks in the ring. This bold approach has created a lot of attention in boxing and added more fuel to the debate about greatness. Now fans continue to ask if Crawford is actually better than Floyd Mayweather Jr., a question that still divides opinions and shapes discussions about modern boxing legacy.
Think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can't knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
Let's go back to the Canelo fight to understand why emotions are so strong. When Terence Crawford entered the ring, most people thought he was too small to take on a challenge like Canelo Alvarez.
Your favorite, Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo, yeah.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 150, 168. That he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, of course, he's probably been training, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
Then he had to face a true 168-pound champion like Canelo Alvarez, a challenge many people felt was too difficult. At first it looked unlikely in the beginning, but Terence Crawford not only handled it, but also controlled the fight and earned a clear win. Canelo landed strong shots and tried to pressure him, but Crawford stayed calm, moved smartly, and broke him down round by round. Even when Canelo threw heavy punches, they did not change the flow of the fight. By the 7th round, Crawford was clearly in control, and by the 12th round, all three judges could see the winner. The victory was more than just another win, it was considered a historic moment. He added to his legacy across multiple divisions and stayed undefeated while doing it.
Before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. Go. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul, Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. Everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
Some fans believe Floyd Mayweather Jr. would never have taken that level of risk. Terence Crawford moved up and beat a naturally bigger champion at his full weight, and this is what many feel adds to the debate about their legacies. Mayweather has always been known for managing the story around his career. He built a huge global brand by calling himself money, and by constantly reminding the world that he stood above everyone else in boxing during his.
I didn't have to have 70 fights, or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
But now the spotlight has shifted to Bud Terence Crawford. Many fans are calling him the new pound-for-pound king. Analysts are still debating whether he has already passed Floyd Mayweather Jr., while his supporters argue that he has shown more courage and a stronger willingness to take risks than Floyd did on a regular basis. Some fans and commentators believe this discussion does not sit well with Mayweather, and may be the reason tensions seem to follow the celebrations after the fight. They also claim that since then Mayweather has taken shots at Crawford, questioned his image, and tried to create controversy around him. Supporters of this idea say that deep down Floyd understands that Bud's win over Canelo Alvarez has changed the narrative and put his own legacy back under comparison. As a result, they believe he is trying to regain control of the conversation about greatness in boxing.
To be Chris Eubank's trainer, first of all.
It feels good, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been this trainer before, so...
Yeah, it's good.
It's a no-brainer.
Of course. Congratulations on the win. What's your first reactions to Crawford's victory? One of the greats of this era, right?
Oh, definitely that. You know that.
What do you want to see him do now?
What I want to do now?
What do you want to see Crawford do next?
Do what he had this point now in his career where he could do whatever he wanted to do.
Who would you like to see him fight? Any names? Is there any names in particular you'd like to see?
It doesn't matter.
What about Canelo? Would you like to see him retire?
Canelo's not my responsibility.
Okay.
But here is the key point: Terence Crawford does not need Floyd Mayweather Jr. to define his career, and many fans believe that should be clearly understood. Mayweather has always built his career by choosing situations that made strategic sense for him and by protecting his position and legacy along the way. Crawford did not come forward to attack Floyd or damage his reputation. Instead, he focused on taking care of his own work inside the ring and letting his performances speak for themselves, building his legacy through results rather than comparisons or outside debate. Beyond boxing, Terence Crawford has long been seen as someone who respected Floyd Mayweather Jr., and there were even links between them through training and shared boxing circles in the past. After Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez, some fans felt that Mayweather did not fully celebrate the moment and instead focused on questioning Canelo's performance. Critics see this as Floyd protecting his own legacy and public image rather than highlighting Crawford's achievement. Supporters of this idea also mention Gervonta Davis, saying Mayweather helped promote and build him early in his career under his own brand. However, when Davis looked for more independence, some fans believe Mayweather became more critical and shifted attention back toward himself. Overall, people who see this pattern argue that whenever another fighter rises in popularity, Mayweather tends to reshape the discussion in a way that keeps his own legacy at the center of boxing debates.
He gave you the spotlight, like why would he try to diminish your career? Because at that time, I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to bring up mine. But it was somehow that they were saying that I was messing with his daughter off of the fact that she kept snapping.
So the people who see it that way call it jealousy. They say Terence Crawford was not attacking Floyd Mayweather Jr. at all and was simply raising the level of the sport. However, they believe Mayweather has always had difficulty with the idea of another fighter stepping into the spotlight and becoming the new face of boxing.
I thought Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Here's Floyd Mayweather Jr. has made his position very clear. He describes himself as the pay-per-view king and says he is the most recognized name in boxing.
Fighter of the decade, I'm a fighter of the last century, honestly. and it's the reason why I'm the best fighter of the last 100 years. The credentials show it. And I went out there and showed it. What's better than going out there, being world champion for what, 20 years? Box office, I got the record. Pay-per-view, I got the record. It's better to win half 5 world titles than 4 at one particular time.
But here is the surprise: Terence Crawford is showing that he can reach that same level. The Canelo fight was not just important inside the ring, it was a huge global event. It drew strong numbers in theaters, and Netflix helped bring the fight to fans all over the world. The stadium was fully packed, and it turned into one of the most watched fights in the past 20 years.
I thought Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Crawford is no longer viewed only as the top pound-for-pound fighter. He has also become a major attraction. Fans are strongly drawn to him and cannot ignore his presence. He knows how to headline a pay-per-view event and turn it into a global show. Wherever he goes, he stays in the spotlight and continues to keep his name in the headlines.
So emotional afterward. Is it that you just realized everything that you achieved, the moment just hit you then?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just, the history, behind the sport is everything that, I trained for my whole life. It all was, coming out that one night. That was all paying off. You have a lot of people that, adopted this narrative that Terrence Crawford can't sell, Terrence Crawford is not marketable, and they pushed the narrative to the public, and that's all people write about. Oh, Terrence Crawford can't do this, Terrence Crawford can't do that. But anyone in Terrence Crawford fights, you see a sold out crowd, but they wasn't talking about that. They was talking about how, marketable I'm not, and that kind of was hurting my career because, a lot of people was looking at me and said, oh yeah, they said he's not marketable. Oh, they said he's not, don't have a personality, things like that, because I didn't want to do things their way. I didn't want to put on a show. I didn't want to disrespect my opponents when they wasn't disrespecting me. Right. I wasn't, I'm not a guy that, wear jewelry for no reason. Just the things that I didn't want to do that they wanted me to do. They go out there and say, oh, well, they lost money on me. It's just crazy though to see me headline, not one of the largest attending fight in American history. In American history.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. is seen by some fans as feeling pressure because Terrence Crawford is gaining attention both inside and outside the ring. This leads to the question of why Floyd appears interested in facing him now. Many argue the reason is tied to money and staying relevant. Mayweather is retired from real competition, but still takes part in exhibition fights with YouTubers, kickboxers and MMA fighters to keep earning and staying in the spotlight. While those events create attention, critics say they do not have a lasting impact on boxing. A fight with Crawford would be very different and would draw huge global interest on its own. The storyline is powerful: an unbeaten legend against an unbeaten modern star, old era versus new era, and the fighter who called himself TBE facing the man many now believe could challenge that claim.
Know how you is, you be sizing niggas up, bro. Keep it a stack. Did you in your head size up Floyd? Like, you know what I'm saying? If we was ever, keep it real, bro. Keep it real.
I'm never that type of guy. I think that's some grimy shit. Always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fighting. I never looked at him like, man, I know I'll beat this.
Boy, you capping, bro. I never thought like fantasy fight me versus Floyd,
Never. I never just was with a person and looked at him like, man, I'll beat his ass. Never. That's some hating type shit to me.
Like plotting.
I ain't never been that type of person ever.
Mayweather Jr. is seen by some as viewing this situation as a chance to earn a big payday and grab headlines again, which is why critics believe he continues to mention it. They argue he would likely step into that spotlight for one final major event if the opportunity came. However, that is not necessarily what Terrence Crawford is looking for. Crawford has always shown respect for Mayweather as one of the all-time greats and has spoken positively about him, but he has never strongly pushed for a fight between them, and many say there is a clear reason for that. Crawford understands that beating Floyd now would not add much to his legacy since Mayweather is 48 years old and has been away from elite-level competition for many years. Critics also point out that any result will be heavily debated. If Crawford won, people would say Floyd was past his prime, and if Floyd somehow won, it would be seen as a fluke. In both cases, they argue the fight would not significantly improve Crawford's place in.
I have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you? Keyshawn beat Tank?
Keyshawn beat everybody. Him and Shakur.
How you feel about them not fighting each other? That's cool?
Yeah, that's cool. They don't need to fight each other.
Was there anybody ever...
They can beat up everybody else.
Was there anybody ever like that in boxing with you? Because not really Sean Porter, right?
No friends in this business for you. I think Tim Bradley would have been like that.
Okay.
I think me and Tim Bradley would have been like that. I wouldn't have fought Tim.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you would have, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great. But you
Floyd, yeah, because I wasn't as close. Me and Floyd close now, but when Floyd was boxing, I wasn't as close with Floyd like I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore, so that fight ain't gonna happen.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you?
I think you got your answer there.
Nah, I didn't hear nothing. Is Floyd better than you? Some fighters say, even like Gervonta Davis.
Beat your ass.
Okay, that's a no. That's a no.
That is why Terence Crawford is not actively chasing a fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Nothing is stopping him from building his own legacy, whether that means defending his title, moving up to middleweight, or eventually retiring undefeated. Crawford and Mayweather have never faced each other, and for Crawford it is not about creating business-driven drama. Crawford has never depended on controversy to push his career forward, some fans believe. Mayweather may be using the discussion to generate attention and secure another big payday while staying in the spotlight. Meanwhile, Crawford is still in his prime and is considered one of the biggest active names in boxing, while Mayweather is no longer the dominant active fighter he once was. When tensions appear, many believe it is not real conflict but more of a strategy, since debate and controversy keep attention high and create viral moments. In the end, supporters argue that Crawford does not need Mayweather, and some fans already believe he has passed him in modern discussions of boxing greatness.
Put him as even the greatest of all time. What does that put him in the all-time list, man?
At least top 10.
At least
yeah, top 10 or top 15.
Yeah.
Easily, you know? There's guys that we may not know of or heard of, like Henry Armstrong. Simultaneously, he was 3 divisions carrying all 3 weight divisions at the same time.
Which performance was better? I don't like to compare them, but Crawford or Mayweather's over Canelo. Like it's just different.
It's just different styles, different looks, you know. But the punching, the output that he was giving Canelo, definitely gave him the win.
There is real tension in this story: the legacy of Floyd Mayweather Jr. against the legacy of Terence Crawford, the established great versus the rising force. Since the Canelo fight, many feel Crawford has taken control of the spotlight, and that Floyd may not be fully comfortable with that shift. Talk of a possible showdown between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford continues to grow, but the real debate goes beyond a fight. It is about legacy. Fans now call Crawford the top pound-for-pound boxer and point out that he remains unbeaten across multiple divisions. Many believe his current popularity is even starting to challenge Floyd's as he continues to headline major events and draw huge attention. Some believe Floyd wants that spotlight back and is not focused on adding to his record, but instead on securing another major payday and staying relevant, while Crawford appears focused on his own path, believing his place in history is already being built. In that sense, a fight with Floyd may not change his story much. So what do you think? If Floyd keeps calling, should Crawford respond or ignore the noise and focus on his future? Share your thoughts below and join the Fighter Legacy fans.